Well, hello, friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of What's Going On here at SwagHer Magazine, where we check in and find out what's going on. I am your host, Jim Cares, and today we welcome Sadija. She is the founder of Stillborn and Infant Loss Support. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the mental health and well being of families who experience miscarriage, stillbirth, and other pregnancy losses. Her mission is accomplished through community building, education, mentorship, and support programs. And we're going to get right into it because I'm excited for what she's going to share with us on today. So, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we are happy to have you indeed because we're going to get some insight and things of that sort. And I think this is a topic that's not always talked about. No?
Yeah.
And we sometimes don't know somebody going through it, or we do know somebody going through it. And it's good to have the information to be able to support somebody or support ourselves if we find ourselves in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. It's a difficult conversation, but it's necessary.
Yeah, we got to have tough conversations sometimes because some people are suffering in silence. So we want to be able to talk about it, be able to support and help one another because life is short. So reach out, tag a friend if you need support. And today, we're going to share some insight on that. So first question, how would you describe yourself? What is it that makes you you?
I would describe myself as down to earth, pretty easygoing, friendly, personable, compassionate. And I think what makes me is, so my last name is Smiley, but I also have an amazing smile that my mom paid for. And so, I think that's part of what makes me as well is my smile. So, yeah.
I like it, and I like that the last name goes with it. Nothing wrong paying for a nice smile. We're going through the process, so give me some inspiration because it's a process.
Yes.
I'm gonna make it down. Okay, so stillborn and infant loss support. What is that? How did it come about?
Yeah, so Stillborn Infant Loss Support is a nonprofit organization. We're based here in the DMV area in Laurel, Maryland. And it was inspired really, and birth is a crazy word to use for it, but it really was birthed through my pain and the birth of my stillborn daughter, Aviana Celine. I carried her for 36 weeks and 4 days, so almost 9 months before I learned that she didn't have a heartbeat. I still did need to deliver her and go through that process, knowing that she wasn't going to be born alive and I wouldn't be able to take her home. And so wanting to, honor her life and support other families and individuals who are on this journey, but really also to show folks that you can move through it, right? You don't move on from it, but you can move through it. You can carry it with you, and you'll make it. And so, just wanting to be an inspiration for those folks that don't have anybody to go to, or those that do have folks to go to, but they may not necessarily understand or be able to relate.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Sorry for your loss. Thank you for using it as a strength to be able to encourage others. Because, the piece of suffering in silence, there's some that have experienced it and don't tell anybody about it. And that's your prerogative. That's your business. When you're ready to talk about it, you can. But as you share your story and be that bold soldier and step out, it encourages somebody else of, if she can make it, I can make it too. I hope, I hope, I pray, But then they also can glean from you of what has helped you, and you can give them inspiration and support as well.
Absolutely. And that's my hope, that she and I will guide other folks through this process, because unfortunately many people will face it and we don't want them to face it alone.
Yeah. Which is, I thought it was pretty cool. I was looking and it said S.A.I.L.S, S-A.I.L.S. Now, can you share the impact that it's had on the community? And I'll tell you what my thoughts were when I first saw it. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So we've been in existence now since 2017, but we became an official nonprofit organization in 2019. So we just celebrated 5 years. May 19th is actually our 5-year anniversary. Thank you. And so in that 5-year time frame, we've served over 600 families in 23 states throughout the U.S. and in 7 countries. And we just really want to raise awareness around the issue. And so we've been able to impact those 672 families, actually. um, but we've been able to honor their babies. We've been able to help cover the cost of cremation or burial, depending on how they decide to lay their baby to rest. And most importantly, we've been able to wrap our arms around those families and really let them know that they're not alone. And as you heard, it extends beyond where we are locally. And so being able to use the internet to comfort and help other families find hope and healing.
Very nice, very nice. When I saw the cells, it's like, as the boat is going, they're selling, and you're picking people up along the way to help them through the process. Some will grab hold, some won't, depending on how they're feeling and how, it has affected them. But you're helping others get to safety, in a safe place of knowing we have your back. We're going to help you through this process. You are loved. You are amazing. You stillbirth.com. Yes, this happened, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the end. I love this. I like it. Very nice.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because that is the inspiration behind the design of the logo. It's a sailboat. My daughter's silhouette is in that head sail because she is guiding us. And then underneath of the boat, you see the water. And so the visual for the logo is to help families ride the waves of grief. So, yeah.
And I didn't even see it. Look at that. Look at that. I like it. In tune. We in tune. Yeah, this is awesome. One, congratulations on this. It's so dope. I mean, just to be able to help somebody else. Did you always see yourself, like, maybe not in this magazine because this is not what you saw happening, but was it always your dream to be of support to others? Was it like just a no-brainer when it did happen?
It definitely was a dream to always support others. I've been working in a nonprofit space for over 20 years. So it's just been in my blood. I've never worked in a corporate environment. Well, for 2 months, and I didn't like it. So I've never gone back.
Gotcha.
But it's always been in my blood to help people, to inspire and encourage folks.
Yes.
And then with such a pain, like that was the most painful, it still is to date, the most painful experience I've ever had. And so now that I know how deep it cuts into your soul, really, and how it impacts you, it's been my mission, one, to help myself, because the more that I can share and inspire people, it encourages me as well as encourages them. So it gives us both a reason to keep going. And so that's kind of where I draw the strength from.
And that's the realness of it. Like, even in going through it, like, to be able to help somebody else, is like, wait, I still need help myself. So how do you find that strength to go forth when you're like, in between?
Yeah. So I am so pro therapy. So that's the first thing.
Yes.
I've been in therapy for years, and people say, oh, you need to stop going, or there's an end. There really isn't an end, because life continues to happen. You continue to have challenges and figure out new ways to cope and handle the challenges that come before you. And so one thing is therapy, because it is oftentimes re-traumatizing to share my story again. But like I mentioned to you, I don't like it. It hurts, but I think it's necessary. I know that it's necessary. So between therapy and prayer, because He's the strength that I have when I have no strength at all. I know that it's not me. It's in His power that I'm able to do this. Because if it were for me, I'll be balled up somewhere in the corner, being able to make it. But through His strength and therapy, and my family and friends, they're very supportive. They encourage me. They check on me. They know that I'm a helper and a caregiver for everybody else. So they'll check in and see how I'm taking care of myself. I'm trying to work out, drink my water, mind my business, get my rest.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Therapy, music to my ears. I try to normalize the importance of us addressing it, because a lot of times we think we're doing good. We're just shuffling and bustling and doing this thing day after day, and not realizing, hey, a little bit of me is diminishing away. How can I address this? How can I process this? And like you said, therapy never ends. Just like your car, you always need to get something done to your car. So you want to be able to always get those check-ins as needed. Just make sure everything is going well as needed. And just to talk, because you'll find that you'll go and you'll be like, yeah, because this happened the other day. And then you find out, oh, it really bothered me more than I thought it did, So friends, if you are listening, we do recommend therapy if you need somebody to talk to, talking to a professional. Because I saw the post the other day, you can't vent to everybody. Yeah. And that's never been more true. Because you go to tell them, and sometimes they don't have the capacity, and it's no fault of their own. It's not their speed. You go to a therapist, though, they have the capacity to support and help you process through what it is that you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for friends and family and those that are around to be able to support. Because they in the corner balled up somewhere. I got that T-shirt. I had to rip it up myself, because life and gets overwhelming, and we're trying to do the best we can every day. So yes, you got this done. You're doing amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So since you just celebrated anniversary of the birthing, how would you say it's grown since the inception? Like from day one to now, what has been that process?
Ooh, I'll say so. First, I'm in our office space now. So it used to be in the
Oh,
basement of my home, which I still have my basement office because I've never despised humble beginnings. I know
yes,
where I
yes,
came from.
yes, yes, I love it.
We started, in the basement office, and just, reaching out on the internet and just, pounding the pavement, trying to get sponsors and donors. And so we've grown from being in the office space at home in the basement and not being able to see a client because it was my personal home to
Mhm.
being in a office suite where we have a conference room and an open space where we can conduct groups and things of that nature. And then in that 5 years, we've raised over $140,000.
Mhm.
Thankfully to our community, a large portion of that
Yes.
are individual donors and supporters. And
Mhm.
so we're grateful that folks see the need for support for families going through this. And then again, even our team is from all over. We have folks from Texas. We have people that are here local to Maryland. We've had board members
Mhm.
from North Carolina, in
Yes.
Florida. And so just being able to grow and stretch beyond our limits and help those families. And I like to always mention that even though we supported 672 families, when you think
Mhm.
about that's the one person who reached out for support. But once that
Mhm.
one person received the support they needed, think about all the people that are tied to that one person, whether it's a spouse or a partner, siblings, aunts, uncles. Like you can go beyond and see the ripple
Mhm.
effect of having the support for that one person. And so we've touched hundreds and thousands of lives.
Very nice. Kudos. I like it. The humble beginnings from the basement to the office to the conference room. Y'all doing it. Go ahead, y'all. And the dopeness of because it is such a unique lane, that's not talked about often. When somebody comes out, people like jump on it, like, yes, we need somebody to talk to about this. So that's really dope and cool that you've been able to continue to outreach. What would you say is the biggest accomplishment to date thus far with your organization?
I would say that the biggest accomplishment to date would be probably reaching those 7 countries like the UK, Ethiopia. I mean, just thinking about being here in the little old town of Laurel, it's 4 miles wide, and
Yes, yes.
being able to reach beyond the walls and the limits, and raise awareness. Like, our following is over 5,000 people. It's not a whole lot when you think about it. However, it's a
Excuse
lot
me?
when you think,
Excuse me? Excuse me?
right?
That's a lot. It's a lot.
And
That's
so
more than one.
that
That's a
is
lot. Can you say that again? We
it's
got a lot of followers. We got a lot of supporters.
we have thousands. And just
Yes.
think about the conversations that they're having, that they would not have had it not
Yes.
been a platform or an opportunity to broach the topic and giving them that. So even being able to have those conversations is one of the huge things that we like to see.
I love it. I love it. So, in thinking of pregnancy and loss, because some people think that maybe it's not happening as often, it's not being reported as often. What are some statistics around it um, in the US?
Yeah. So I would share, and this comes from the CDC. You can look it up on the CDC's website. 1 in 4 pregnancies in the loss. Oftentimes we hear 1 in 4 and we think 1 in 4 women, but it's 1 in 4 pregnancies because unfortunately some women suffer and go through multiple pregnancy losses. So it's
Mhm.
1 in 4 pregnancies and then a loss, and that loss could be a miscarriage, an ectopic pregnancy, and 1 in 160 pregnancies and then a stillbirth. So a stillbirth is that's the other thing I should clarify. So a miscarriage is anything less than 20 weeks. If you're
Okay.
less than 20 weeks pregnant,
Yeah.
it's a miscarriage. Anything over that is considered a stillbirth. So if you carry for longer than that, it's based on the gestation. And so 1 in 160 pregnancies and then a stillbirth. And then when we think about people that look like you and I in our community, Black women are more than twice as likely to have a stillbirth than our white counterparts. So when you look at that, the likelihood of us having a miscarriage or a stillbirth, and then the challenges with accessing mental health within the Black community, and or finding someone who's culturally competent that looks like you and I that can understand and relate. That adds, layers to that. And so those are some of the statistics. And each year it's gone down now in the US. It used to be 25,000 babies are stillborn. It's down to 21,000, but one is too many. So
yeah, that's big. One of the therapy piece of finding somebody that can relate to us. Being in the field, there's been times that I've gone out to homes and which I just thank you for coming because somebody else didn't come because the neighborhood that they lived in, right? And kudos to all of the Black and brown clinicians out there that are daily hitting the pound to be able to support others that are going through. But even in the doctor world, the medical world, going to the doctor, I've talked with several who have had challenges being able to advocate for themselves because something is going on and they feel like something is wrong. They're like, oh, you'll be okay. Though we are strong, we still bleed, we still cry, we still hurt. And when we're expressing that, we need the professionals to be able to hear us and be able to support us effectively in what it is that we're going through. Because sometimes some things get overlooked, not intentionally on our part. We're saying, hey, you see me? I need help. And sometimes they don't get it. So I do hope that, this even makes it to the ears of those that they could be like, let me be a little bit more open. Let me be a little bit more receptive to what they're saying because they are the expert of their bodies. I'm just here to help them connect the dots of what's trying to get out of, order.
Yeah, and being able to recognize it, like it's okay if you cannot relate or there's some bias there. I think being able to recognize that and tag somebody else in that can navigate that space better than you if you find yourself in that position as a clinician or a practitioner.
Yeah. And you as the patient, just because you go to somebody who had that bad experience doesn't mean that's enough, y'all. Please go to somebody else. Just like you go to the restaurant and you know which waitresses you want and don't want. Just like you go to the McDonald's across the way because the one around the corner ain't right. Chick-fil-A always right in my book. I don't know. But you have our preferences and things that sort. But just as you do those things, you want to be able to advocate for yourself. If you feel like the person at the car shop was getting over on you, you're getting a second opinion. So you want to make sure you're getting that second opinion. You don't have to stay with that person if you're feeling uncomfortable. It's not a good gel. Yeah. However, if it's a therapist and they are pushing you and challenging you to be a better version of you, sister and brother, please just sit there a little while longer. I'm saying if it's really like, no, this is not it. This is not should be. You can't get no peace. You can't go to sleep. We need to, reevaluate. But yes, I love that.
Yeah, that's important though. That's good that, like you mentioned, them pushing you because that's the part of therapy that's uncomfortable. If you go to therapy all the time and you feel great every single time and there's not a level of discomfort, you might want to check in to see like, okay, what am I not disclosing? What am I avoiding? Is this a good match? But there should be levels of discomfort during your session.
Absolutely. It's funny. One of my close friends is in school to be a therapist. I'm like, you sure you want to do this, girl? This is something, not for the faint of heart. And in the class, you have to normally do like a session with someone and you record it and things of that sort. And now when I was in school and I did it, I was the one that gave them holy hell because I wanted to perform. I was an actress, okay? But, with her, I'm trying to like be nice, and be genuine in a moment for her because it's new for her. And we were talking about something random. And then I started talking about something else and she was like, oh, you want to look into that more? No, I do not. I want to talk about this now because it gets real, right? And if you want to, make it through the hump of things that have happened that should have taken us out, you have to talk to that man in the mirror to do those changes and to be, to have gone through something that you've gone through, that takes a lot to really have to now bring up all the feelings of what you thought would happen, how you thought it would be. And now it's different. Our fantasies and our dreams and our aspirations, in a sense, gets crushed a little bit. And you got to now rebuild. That could be so hard. But friends, if you go to somebody to talk, I promise it's a benefit once you get through that process.
Yeah. And I think for you as a clinician, you'll recognize that. And a lot of people don't, like you just mentioned, the hopes and the dreams. And that's really a lot of what it boils down to when we lose our babies, whether it's at 1 week pregnant or 10 weeks or 9 months. It's the hopes and the dreams that are lost that we have for that child and for our family as we planned for it to grow. And now it's no longer doing that.
Because, baby, it's enough going on in the world, right? So for you to finally get to the place where you're about to have a baby, and then, like, what you have brought, going into the store and going around that section, can you share some words of encouragement for those that maybe haven't had experience of it didn't work out, and now I got to go in the store. And every time I go in the store, they got the nerve to have a baby section in the front. Or I thought I diverted it, but then dang on, I found something and they brought it back because memories or different things can trigger. How could one get support with that?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I would have folks think about is getting a kind of like a spokesperson, if you will, because when it happens, you don't want to keep telling people over and over, oh, this happened. They're going to ask you because you probably have shared your news. So getting a spokesperson, whether it's your partner, your spouse, a really close friend that can share with people, or you can say, hey, call so and so and let them kind of filter those conversations and things for you to keep you out of that. And that person can also help you unsubscribe from some of these big. I wish there was one central place where you could go and unsubscribe from all these baby mailings and things when you lose your baby. There isn't, as far as I know right now. So having somebody be the point person to unsubscribe for you. And it's okay to say no. You don't have to go to the baby shower. You don't have to go to in that store, and really checking in with yourself that if it makes you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to do something else. You don't have to justify it for anybody else. You don't have to explain it to anybody else. You don't have to say anything. Just don't go. That's one of the things that I would definitely recommend is being true and checking in with yourself and finding a peer support. When I say peer, someone else that is on this journey, because you don't have to explain. If someone, when I talk to moms, they don't have to tell me what they're feeling or what they think. I have a pretty good idea. So they don't have to keep saying it and explain to me why they're not going to the shower, why they're not going to the family reunion. But if it's someone where they haven't experienced it, then you feel the need to explain. And that can be difficult, especially in the beginning.
It is, and then sometimes I got like some friends and we'll talk and I'll go to say, I'm like, nope, I'm going to tell the other one here because I'm not trying to tell the story gazillion times. But having that spokesperson is so big because it's a lot. Because everybody got all these questions. And then what happened? And then what you do? And da-da-da. How do you feel? Sometimes it's the ministry of silence and presence. Just being there and being quiet because you don't always know how you feel in the moment. And you might be feeling like good. They're like, oh, she's too happy. What you mean I'm too happy? I can't cry. I can't, leave me alone, And we want to be careful those times because we can push somebody to the edge and they're already close because they're like, what the heck has happened?
Yeah.
So I like that having a spokesperson to be able to be there to support and help guide conversations that do not disturb is very nice on our phones. Having somebody support, that's a new one for that unsubscribe, because that is big, because they'll be sending you something because they got all the dates and things. They're like, bing, 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 but leave me alone.
Yeah. I hope there's a tech person watching. I'm a Black woman in tech preferably, but I hope there's a tech person watching that could develop something like that to help moms, to help us unsubscribe from all of the things that she'll be.
Yes. I gotta see if I know somebody in tech, because this is a good one, not just for that, but other stuff. Because it takes me so long to unsubscribe from stuff that I didn't even know that I subscribed to. They just sending me coupons. I ain't never even been to them places, but sorry, tech support. If y'all out there, we're asking for your services, so please come on over. Because again, it's the things that you don't even think of because you're just randomly going into your email and it's like. Then you don't know what you wanted the email for. You want to just kind of leave your email and go on about your day. So I get it. So cool. Yes. How you said you do groups and things of that sort. How can one connect with your groups and programs?
Yeah, so we offer our 8-week grief recovery support group in person and virtually. So if you go to our website at bornintosilence.org, you can register for the 8-week grief support group virtually or in person. And for those who are not quite ready for a structured grief recovery group, we have our once a month Lost Moms open hour. It is for women only, for birthing parents. But we meet once a month and you can register through our website for that as well. That's more open and free flowing. And we discuss different coping mechanisms. You get to connect with other moms that are on this journey and kind of share what's working for you. Or you can just sit and listen. Some moms don't turn the camera on. They don't say anything. They just sit. But it's comforting and they may talk in the chat. So those are 2 ways that you can get involved in our groups.
And that's really big because sometimes you'll feel like you go to these virtual events and you have to turn your camera on. That's mostly just at work. If your supervisor's asking you to turn your camera on, it's a lot that goes on with you going on groups and things of that sort, in person, on virtual. If you want to just go and just hear, that's beneficial as well until you feel comfortable in opening up and sharing your story. So again, virtual is great. In person is great, whichever one works best for you. You don't have to go and say anything. You're just going there to get support, being amongst others that have a common testimony and story of yours. You get to hear how they're working it out. You're like, oh, maybe I should try that. I don't normally open up the curtains until 5. Maybe I should open them up at 9, because it gets some sun in and things of that sort. So, friends, please, 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 yes, do what works for you. Virtual, in person, on a phone, through our jobs, we have have like employee assistance program, the
Mhm.
most underutilized service. It's free for you to talk to somebody. Just go ahead and check it out, and see if that works for you. But finding what works for you. But gotta be the bad cop. Gotta be the bad cop. I get having the shades down does work for you. I get ignoring the world does work for you. I get taking off as many days as you can does work for you. It doesn't work for me. I can't have you doing it gazillion days at a time. So I'm going to push you just a little bit to try to find something that's going to help uplift your spirits, whether it's a one phone call to somebody that you know that can inspire you, a text to somebody that does inspire you, jumping on a Zoom with Born, Silence, that does work for you, born into silence, so that you can get that support, friends. Do not suffer in silence. There are a gazillion programs out here that can help and support you. Please, please, please take a chance on one or connect somebody that you know that needs one with one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you plan to continue to, address this concern and continue to go global to more countries, to more states, to help, cry out loud to those that are experiencing or have experienced pregnancy loss, stillborn, or know somebody that has?
Yeah, so our goal really is to become the leading organization in providing comprehensive support, right? So
The
we
leading.
wrap
Mhm.
leading.
Yes.
We really want to wrap our arms around these families. So we plan to expand our services to reach more families. I'm in the works. We're in the works of pitching a program so that we can help adults and parents and caregivers guide their grieving children, right? Because more than just the parent is involved and impacted by the loss of that baby. And so we're looking at launching a program to help children with loss so that parents have the tools and they're equipped to walk their children through this process as well. And my big vision, it would be nice to have like S.A.I.L.S chapters across the US. There might be a S.A.I.L.S Florida, a S.A.I.L.S New York, a S.A.I.L.S Massachusetts. So being in different areas, because while the internet is huge and folks can get support virtually, there are oftentimes a lot of people reaching out to us that are in different states that wish they
Mhm.
could come in and meet with people
Yeah,
in their local area.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's talk about moms. Let's talk about the dads,
Mhm.
because they also go through. It's still a process for them. They're excited if it's their first child, eighth child, 25th child. It hurts. Okay. What supports can fathers get from your program?
Yeah, so we actually have a partnership with Sad Dads Club. All of our programming, with the exception of the Lost Moms Open Hour, is open to men. I will share that we don't have a lot of men that participate because the face of what they see are typically women on our websites, even me and some of our events. So we do have a few men that participate. And then the ones that don't necessarily feel comfortable, even the ones that do, we refer them to the Sad Dads Club. That's
Mhm.
a virtual space where men and non-birthing parents can get together. They meet once a week.
Mhm.
They have different stories and topics. They gather, I think it's quarterly now. It used to be once a year. They gather quarterly in person
Mhm.
for a retreat. And we also have, so one of the things that we have here in the office is a library.
Okay.
And so we have several books that
Very
families can request and we'll mail out to them for free. This one's actually getting ready to go out to a father when I leave here today. And so we do have some literature that's helpful for the guys as well.
Very nice, very nice. Mr. H, I thank you for sharing your comments and in the comments saying I had to face it alone. I had to be the midwife for the full several hours long labor and delivery because our midwife wouldn't bother coming. Sorry to hear that. And then sharing how you had to make the casket yourself and perform the services. Warm wishes and prayers and love to you in that time. I do encourage you to look into the Sad Dads Club, because though it could have been some time ago, it could have been yesterday, years ago, there's still some support programs out there to be able to support and assist you, because that can be a lot. That
Yeah.
can be a lot.
Yeah. And it's so unfortunate that the brunt of it is on the male, on the partner,
Mhm.
and he's expected to be strong for mom. When
Mhm.
people are coming in, they're asking how's mom doing, and there's not a lot of support rallying around dad. And as
Mhm.
Mr. H mentioned, sometimes when families go to the hospital and they know the baby is not going to be born alive, they are pushed away and sent back home for a couple of days. They're no longer a priority because their baby
Mhm.
isn't living. So they will push other live births ahead of that baby, which is unfortunate. And I don't know if it's ethical, but I would argue that
Yeah.
maybe it's not. And so even having more advocacy around that aspect of it, which people haven't talked about or shared. And so sending
Mhm.
my love and support out to you, Mr. H, your family, your wife, your partner, and hopes that you can connect with Sad Dads Club and check out our website. There's a few
Mhm.
videos and some things there as well that hopefully will comfort you during this time and forever, because we carry it forever.
Yes, carry forever. You be hoping that you let it go and find out, here we go again. But that's why the benefit is of reaching out to programs that do support, such as your program and S.A.I.L.S. I looked when I was looking at the website to confirm I had the right spelling. I saw the S.A.I.L.S. I said it's so beautiful. Yes, because you're selling and you're helping the people. And again, kudos to you and your program.
Yeah.
Another question for you is, how do you hmm, what words of wisdom would you give to those that are like nervous about going into this? Um, yeah, that are nervous. But how can we help to inspire and encourage? I don't want to say push them because I want you to go when you're ready, but I want to encourage you a little bit to let's give it a try.
Yeah, I think definitely reaching out to the virtual support groups. Most of them do not require that you have your camera on. They do not require that you say anything. Try to put yourself around. You don't have to speak, but be around others who are on this
Mhm.
journey. And it's not to discount anybody else's experience or testimony in other areas, but it's really unique, just like any other experience. Oftentimes it's easier to be around folks that can relate. They understand why you haven't showered. They understand why your hair is looking crazy. They understand why you haven't slept in 2 days without you even needing to say anything. So I would encourage them to find some virtual support groups if they're interested. Literature, looking up books. There's a ton of books now online. I didn't have any books when I lost my daughter. I didn't have a whole lot of support.
Mhm.
That also was 21 years ago. So some things have changed, not a lot, but some things have changed when it comes to books and literature being available. Reach out to us. I do a lot of peer support. I text. That phone number on our website accepts phone calls and text messages from all over. So
Yeah.
feel free to text if you need some peer support, and reach out to a therapist.
Mhm.
And it doesn't even necessarily have to be specifically related to the death of your child. I think if
Mhm.
you just reach out sharing that whatever it is you're experiencing and feeling, I've found, and other folks in our groups have found, the death of our child kicks up a lot of other stuff, right? So
Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
what's happening, and that's what we're dealing with right now. But it
Yeah.
kicks up a lot of other emotions and feelings around grief, around loss, around our relationships with our parents. It just rocks a whole bunch of stuff. So even if you're not necessarily sure where you are and how you feel,
Mhm.
check in with the therapist and your doctor. If you're not sleeping, it's okay
Yes. Yes.
to reach out to your physician to see if you need some aid in getting
Yes.
some rest
Yes.
or getting, whatever it is that you might need. You don't have to tough it out. You don't have to do it alone.
Mhm.
It's a lot of different ways that your medical team, your doctor, your therapist can support you as you navigate this. The last thing I would encourage them to do is not to isolate. It's
Yes.
really easy to just withdraw from everything and everybody. Stay connected to at least one or two people. Find one or
Mhm.
two people that you can just text or call every day, every other day. Just stay connected.
Yes, so true, so true. And I love that of you sharing how this loss can trigger some other things. And I always tell people, because they'll be like, we going to the front and she better not act the fool. He better not act the fool. So that's not really a fair statement to make, because what happens is when you lose somebody, person, place, or thing, and
Mhm.
you lose something else, it triggers all the thoughts that went with it, where you thought that you were over it, you thought that you were, you know, over that hump. It's like, oh, I just slid back down. So we want to be able to offer support to people at their pace of grieving. Yes, having somebody that they could talk to. I have a friend I try to pull out every so often. Yep, we're going out today. We're not staying in the house. Having somebody to be of support, to help you get through and navigate through, sail through that murky water, that dirty water, that cloudy water. Because sometimes you think you're not gonna make it, but there is somebody that's around that can throw a lifeline to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And throw out the boat, because some of us don't know how to swim, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
And that's not a funny matter either. We want to be able to make sure that you got that. So take some swimming lessons. Reach out to somebody that's going to be able to support you and pull you out of that water. This was
Yeah.
good. I'm so excited for what you're doing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share. And I just want to add one quick thing. I think
Yes.
oftentimes when we go through things, it is important for us, the person who's going through, to reach out and figure out what they need and share and advocate. And sometimes it's not as easy. So I would encourage the people around that person to reach in, right, and to check on them. So even if it's not you that's on this journey, if you know somebody and this makes you think about, oh, I remember so-and-so when they had a miscarriage, or I remember he, reach out to them, because it is very lonely. We feel very shameful and stigmatized. And sometimes we really don't know what we need. People always say, advocate for what? Well, what if I don't know right now?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know. So I would encourage people around that person or that family or those people to also reach out and reach in.
Yeah. I like it. Reach out and reach in.
Yeah.
Reach out and reach in. I'm taking that one. I got it. Thanks. Be sure to follow Sadija on Instagram, Born Into Silence, at Born Into Silence. You get to follow. I'm sure she has a link tree there where you get connected to everything. Again, you can also go to her website at bornintosilence.org. You'll see the symbol at the top. So you have made it to the right spot. You can follow me on Instagram as well at Jen_Carrots. It's always a pleasure to be here to host What's Going On, where we talk about what's going on. Be sure to like, comment, and share. This was some great information that was shared, and we may know somebody that's dealing with it. We may not know somebody that's dealing with it, but guess what? When we share it, they get to find out, oh, I'm not alone. I can get some support. Oh, I like this. So friends, be sure to share. I do thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, so that you always know when we're going live. There's a tongue twister. But until next time, this has been really, really cool. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them down below. I'm sure Sadija will see them so she can check in and give you some more resources. But also hit up her DM on Instagram so that you can get some support and get connected. Also look in your neighborhood. Google. They're around. They can help you out. Find what works for you, but find something. Okay? This was so, so good. Thank you again so much for joining us. May you have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Yes.